Welcome to session 7 of my Challenger training series. We've just focused on session 5 and 6, which was covering the training principle HIIT. With metabolic conditioning, the 2 sessions that I'm prescribing, they're 2 very different sessions. This one, session number 7, we're going to be focusing on a barbell complex. With metabolic conditioning, we're looking at multi-joint compounded movements. So they're difficult because the body is working as one rather than isolated movements, with little rest as possible. So it is a very intense session, but you can break when you need to, and you can put whatever rules and dictate however you want to do it. With the barbell complex, you need to be able to use a weight where, I don't mind if you need a rest, but if you need to place the barbell down, it could be a good indicator that the barbell is too heavy for you. You can have as much rest as you need. Once you've completed the entire complex, you might need 3 minutes rest, you might need 4 minutes rest. And so that's sort of telling me whether you want to really attack this session in more of a strength aspect, or you want to go more for just, let's just get him out as quick as we can, more of a conditioning component. So you can prescribe however you want to do this for yourself. Depending, you might be really fatigued after doing heavy deadlifts the day, or heavy squats the day before, or 2 days ago. You've got to read and feel how your body is processing all your training that you're currently in, so then you can dictate your own weight. But first of all, this is the breakdown. So we're going to break down each key component, talk about how we're going to lift the weight, how we're going to approach the intensity, and how to do it correctly. So we're going to start with the barbell complex. As you know, in previous sessions, a complex is an amount of exercises that you will consecutively do one after the other until the entire complex is completed, and then you can rest most of the time. This one, you definitely can rest. We have 8 deadlifts, 6 cleans, 4 front squats, 2 overhead presses, 4 back squats, 6 reverse lunges, and 8 burpee over barbell. So it's very taxing. It's utilizing everything. It's repeatedly using the same muscles to do the same different exercises, and that's why it gets so fatigued, especially when you're holding this weight the entire time. It doesn't drop. So challenging a lot of different things. So let's get started. Again, I've got a 20 kilo barbell here and 2 20 kilo weights on either side. I'm going to use this for the demonstration purposes. Usually for this session, I'd probably work at 80 kilos to challenge myself with enough rest in between to make sure that I can repeat that quality movement throughout and attain my objectives. Now, for some, a barbell itself can be too heavy. It's a 20 kilo barbell. So you may want to work with 2 dumbbells. I don't have them on me now, but you can have 2 dumbbells and replicate the same movement. And that way it's actually going to provide a little bit more instability because they're obviously not attached, they're separate. So there's 2 good reasons to use that, but the main reason is that we want to stay safe. The barbell complex requires a little bit of skill, a little bit of coordination. If you don't feel like you're there yet, even with an empty barbell, 20 kilos, then revert back to those dumbbells. They might be 5 kilos each, 10 kilos each, whatever you want to do, making sure that the movement is sound. So let's get on to the complex. We've covered most of these exercises in previous sessions, so I'm not going to harp on too much, just cover the basics. So deadlifts, we want to be as close to the bar as possible. All right, that's why I've got scars on my shins, because I'm grinding that barbell up and down my shins when I lift up and when I release. I'll pull this back a little bit. So I'm standing over the top. I'm going to come as close as I can, obviously centered to the barbell, and I want to keep everything as tight as possible. So I'm not going to bring my hands out here to grab the bar, okay? Putting my shoulder capsule in a bit more of a vulnerable position. I'm going to bring it nice and close to the side of my body. My hands will slide to the outside of my lower leg, and then eventually I'm going to finish with my inside of my elbow against the outside of my knee. I'm going to grab the bar over, so on top, essentially where the knurling starts. So you can see it's smooth bar here and the knurling, the grip here. That's where I want it. Most of us, we're probably going to grab it either just on the outside, just on the inside, or halfway through, depending on how wide and large you are. So I'm going to grab it just half, just making sure wrist is beneath shoulder, set myself up. Before I even lift the bar, I'm already pushing a lot of force into the ground and tensing all my joints and trying to white knuckle the bar. So trying to break the bar, have everything as tight as possible, and this is 60 kilos in total, I'm probably lifting about 50, 55 kilos before I even move. So that ensures that when I do move, that everything's prepared and I'm not going to jerk anything and nothing's vulnerable or susceptible to injury. So again, set yourself up. You're going to come to full hip extension. Your upper body, okay, your upper body integrity stays the same. The position, posture stays the same. Have strong integrity through your core. You're pushing those hips rearward, getting as much range through the hip extension movement. You complete 8 repetitions in total. You don't let go of the bar. Does that make sense? So you want to hold onto the bar, hold the weight of the bar the entire time. From here, we're going to move on to the next exercise. Now again, if you want to practice form or technique, sometimes it's good to use something like a stick like this, because you understand how to use a deadlift, but there's a bit more skill acquisition between a deadlift and a barbell clean. From generating force from the ground to coming up, and then somehow how do you get the bar above your waist? I mean, your arms aren't going to lift any higher. How do you get the transition? And that's where a lot of people can become unstuck. Either A, they never want to try the movement because it's too scary, I don't want to get injured, or it's too intimidating. And so starting with something as light as this that anyone can work with will teach you the correct moving patterns, build the confidence, and then you can start adding load, whether it's an empty barbell, or sometimes at some of those Globo gyms, they've got like 2.5 kilos on either end, or whatever it may be. But the reason why the cleans is such a great exercise and a powerful tool is because it requires power and coordination, which everything that you do does, especially if you're an athlete. You need to be powering from the ground and have a smooth transition from that power that you have there, then hitting at the hips to bring in close and up above the shoulders. So it's just executed in one movement, and that's what we're doing. I can't lift 60 kilos like this. Can't reverse bicep curl it. So how do I get it up? I need to use my hips, just like you would with a kettlebell swing, right? It's that hip extension, the power through the entire hip girdle there, that's going to allow you to bring the bar just above the knees, and then as you come up, I even come up onto my toes, so it's an extension through the ankle, and then I'm able to actually make contact between my hip and the bar. And that's why when you come up, you keep the bar close to the body to protect the back, but also make connection at the hip. And when it comes up, you don't obviously come forward. Imagine me trying to hold 60 kilos there, that's not gonna happen. I need to come up close to the body and then come down and catch it. Right? The heavier it is, the lower you come down to catch. But obviously you're not gonna be working that heavy, you're new to the exercise, or it's a big ass complex and you don't wanna make sure you're doing it right. So coming down, hit the hips, bring it back in. Down, hit the hips, come back up. So you're gonna repeat 8 deadlifts into 6 cleans. So let's show you what it looks like with an actual barbell. You're going to finish your last deadlift, and then from there, come into the clean. Bring it back down, come into the clean. So you're working your body as one, into the clean. There's no way that I can lift it up over my shoulders without the use of my hips. So ensure, like I said, if the skill acquisition is too high, it's too much for you, get the dumbbells either side, deadlift it, and use the power through your legs to bring it up to your shoulders. Now, once you've finished your last clean, you actually have the barbell up on the shoulders, and that's where we're going to complete front squats. So again, back squats, focusing more on the glutes. Front squats, we're focusing more anteriorly on the body, so quads and a lot more pressure in our trunk to sort of sustain good upper body posture and trunk integrity. So it is a tough exercise. It does take a bit of flexibility, whether you might be really tight through your subscap, through your anterior serratus, through this whole general area, or you may even have like a cor-photic sort of poor posture through the upper spine and tight chest, or you may even be really tight through the forearms or even tricep. You may have poor mobility through the wrist that all restrict you from holding a barbell correctly in an ideal position. So again, don't do it if your form looks shit. Get the dumbbell out, put the dumbbell on the shoulders, have that front rack position, and work with what you've got, and then just keep working on those mobility drills that are within the 365 program. That's what it's designed for. Move well first, then put the intensity and load on. So, I'm going to move straight into, we've done the deadlifts, the cleans. So my last clean will come up, and then I'm going to go to the front rack position. All right, so I've got my elbows coming as high as they can, I'm in a secured position. The barbell is, I guess, against my lower throat, but it's not choking me. I'm going to get myself into, set my base of support, make sure that my footing's right. I'm going to push my hips back, stay strong in the core. I've got my intra-abdominal pressure, so I've taken a nice deep breath, holding at the bottom. I'm still in a tall, strong, upright position, not letting the barbell take me forward. I'm going to press through my feet, squeeze my glutes, come to the top. All right, and I'm going to repeat that 4 times, and once you complete the front rack squat, we're going to transition straight to the overhead press. 8 deadlifts, 6 cleans, 4 front squats. Now we're looking at transitioning this entire weight above your head, whether it's a strict press or a overhead push press, so you're utilizing your entire body to get that weight above your head. This is why the exercise, reverse pyramid scheme, because getting two overhead presses with a heavier weight is probably just as difficult as doing 8 light deadlifts. Positioning is key. We've spoken a little bit already about mobility and what kind of place it has within this complex. Working with heavy, substantial weights with compound movements, back to back, whilst you're under fatigue. If your mobility is poor, then you're going to be exposing yourself to potentially a lot of harm. So your overhead press, we've covered this before. If you have poor upper thoracic extension, meaning that you can't actually stack your vertebrae rearward and keep your rib cage down and have an ideal overhead shoulder position, then you're going to be putting yourself into all kinds of trouble. And that again is why having 2 dumbbells or working 1 dumbbell at a time, perhaps even as a further regression, is maybe the best choice for you. All right, or just working lighter as well. So I'm going to deadlift it, clean it, bring it up. We've done our front squats, now it's the overhead press. This one I could probably strict press above my head, bring it back down to the bottom, press again. I know we've covered this exercise, but again, you're going to ensure that your trunk integrity is strong. So pulling my sternum into my pelvis, keeping my elbows locked in, squeezing the bar as hard as I can, squeezing my glutes and pressing my feet into the ground as tough as I can. Pressing above the head. Now, as a complex, you'll be fatigued by this point, so it may be best for you to do a push press, so using your legs and pressing above the head. A lot more easier and less taxing than the strict press. After your overhead presses, you're going on to 4 back squats, then we're going to 6 reverse lunges, so 3 per side. We'll finish off with that 8 burpee over bars. So you can imagine once you've got the bar overhead, you've done your final reps, so number 2, then you're just simply going to carefully place the bar on your back. So I'll grab this for an example again. It's important because behind this range here, you're putting your, shoulder joint in a vulnerable position. If the weight's too heavy and you don't have the correct mobility, it can be a little bit sticky and you can feel things pull. But you're tight to the chest, you've got impingements or whatever it may be. So if you want to, you can give yourself a bit of a wider position with your hands, or when you come down, you can sort of squat down with it and catch it at the bottom. Instead of a strict movement all the way down, which is a lot of time under tension, especially that end range point here, can almost be, all right, I've got this under control, and then I'll just let it drop down. So you're not going to put that joint under that so much stress towards that end range. So I'll show you an example. So after you overhead press, my hands are close together, and then I have to bring it down. Okay, I'm going to catch it at the bottom rather than trying to risk the health of my shoulders. Once you're in this position, look, you're already in the squat position. You're going to go for your 4 back squats. Again, we've covered this before. As long as you're comfortable with the weight and moving well, you're coming down, pushing through the floor, squeezing your glutes all the way to full hip extension. You're under control the whole time. You don't have to move too fast. We're going to then move on to reverse lunges, 3 per side. So I start with my left leg just because, no real reason why not to put all my weight into that left leg. As you can see, I can move my right leg around. So I'm able to move this right leg back, down to the floor, keeping my center of mass into this front leg. Right now, if I stand up tall, it's in that back leg. I need to ensure I'm hinging to a degree forward over my left leg. If you break through the trunk and you don't have that strong enough core, you start to flex through the spine. With 60 kilos or whatever on your back, you're at a huge risk of hurting yourself. So A, use weight that suits you. B, always be conscientious of what your core is doing. So putting the weight in the front leg, so I'm shifting my hip rearward. All right, so that's sort of allowing me, instead of hinging forward, I push my femur into my body, put the weight through my foot, squeeze through the glutes, come up to the top. So that's my left leg, down and up, down and up, all under control. 3 on your right, and we're going to move on to a burpee over bar. So essentially you need to then again get the bar over your head and safely put it on the ground. Or if you're in the right gym with bumper plates, these aren't bumper plates, you can drop the weight straight off the shoulders. Or again, have someone to assist you from behind to place the bar down safely. But if you're in this position, I'm not going to strict press it behind my neck here. Some people can. If you've got good shoulder mobility, strong, healthy shoulders, that's fine. If the weight's not heavy enough. Or you can use those legs and just get the bar over the head and catch it at the chest and then bring it back down. We're going to move on straight onto the burpees over bar. So again, these aren't half-assed burpees. You actually have to jump a particular height and laterally. So it's going to be chest to the ground. Challenging our upper body again. Feet come flat and wide. Jump to the side. Chest to the ground. Same. Jumping over the top. Complete 8 in total. And then once you've done that, you can rest for whatever it takes to get the heart rate back down and you feel safe and ready to resume that same complex with the same weight. Shows where you need to work on in terms of strengths and weaknesses. So the reason why we do have that pyramid scale or rep scheme is because, you know, for me, 60 kilo deadlifts, 8 reps is not very challenging. But if I had 8 reps of overhead barbell press after all the previous exercises, it's probably going to be a little bit too much and I'm going to get fatigued. So we're sort of tapering, we're going ascending or descending. So I guess it's an inverted pyramid rep scheme. So we're descending the reps in conjunction to the difficulty of the exercise at the same weight. So 8 deadlifts at 60 kilos, no worries. 6 cleans at 60 kilos, we're getting a little bit more harder. And then 4 front squats, yeah, it's starting to become a challenge. 2 overhead presses, yeah, that's getting tough. And then 4 back squats, it's not too bad. 6 reverse lunges, yeah, it's getting a lot easier. And then 8 barbell 8 burpee over barbells. Obviously, there's no weight there, and yeah, that's easier. I don't have the stress of the weight on me. So there's a purpose why we have that inverted rep scheme on this complex.